Hi everyone, sorry for the delay in my video posting. I had some editing and recording issues, but I think they're fixed now. So I'll definitely be coming with more content this week. If you want more information on my last videos when I talked about Year 12 academics, they're already up on my channel. I talked about moving schools, making friends, adjusting to A-levels and the like in my first video. And I also discussed free periods and EPQs in my second video. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, please go check out those videos before watching this one. In today's video, I'm going to be giving my general sixth form advice for Year 12s and Year 13s. So my first tip is to, number one, get a job. I really wish I got a job at the start of sixth form, so in Year 12, around this time or October, because if you wait too long, everyone is getting a part-time job, so you won't have the opportunities and you won't be able to improve your CV or your applications. Having a job is also really useful because you can get some money and that can help you buy clothes or whatever you're interested in. If you buy a lot of revision guides or resources, A-levels can begin to cost a lot, especially if you're replacing stationery or anything. So having your own job and your own money just makes that a little bit easier. Now that I'm out of school and I'm in my gap year and I'm applying for professional experience, I keep sending in my CV, but I keep getting ghosted. So I think it's because I don't have a job and I didn't get one before. If you're at the start of Year 12 and you want to wait until you're 13, that's a bad idea because that's what I did. And I got so much busier in Year 13 to the point where I decided I was just going to focus on my A-levels and focus on employment afterwards, which I'm doing now. If you're interested in what kind of jobs you want to get as a student, I would just recommend anything you can find that isn't too intensive because you obviously have A-levels that you're revising for. Think working at a coffee shop like Costa or being a tutor. Shameless plug, very, very shameless plug, but I am starting tutoring. So if you're interested in getting tutored by me, please email me in the link in the email down below. I'm currently offering French at GCSE and A-level, but if you're interested in A-level further maths or level 2 further maths, I will also be offering that very soon, so contact me anyway. If you're looking for work experience, for example, if you're applying for a very competitive degree like engineering or medicine or dentistry, it would be a good idea to reach out to hospitals or dentist practices in your area around this time or around October, just to make sure that you can secure your work experience early. As these degrees are extremely competitive, it's so important that you get ahead of the curve and you secure any sort of advantage you can before other people catch on. And next, I'd recommend that you try new things. At the end of the day, if you're in sixth form or college, you're here to grow as a person, not just to learn. This is your time to experiment and try out things that you may not usually find yourself interested in, just so that you can learn yourself a bit better. Learn a new hobby, change your hair color, do something different. For example, if you move to sixth form and you get invited to a party, it's a great way to get to know people and make friends and also have fun. I did that and it helped me a lot when I moved schools, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that if you're not an outgoing person and you just want to keep to yourself. At the end of the day, just be yourself. If you'd much rather hang out with your mum on the weekend and watch a movie, that's fine. You shouldn't feel like you have to change yourself. While I'm on the topic of friends, I would also want to talk about friends and relationships. So in sixth form, generally people are much less focused on the drama and they're more engaged in their work. So I wouldn't be too hesitant to make friends. I also mentioned this in my first video when I talked about how people in sixth form are much more productive and focused on their goals because they know what they want to do. Similarly, relationships are quite common in sixth form because people tend to glow up between Year 11 and Year 12 or Year 12 and 13. So if you're interested in that, then maybe look for someone else who is, but I wouldn't make that your main priority because at the end of the day, you're there to study for your exams. Same advice I gave a few minutes ago, don't change yourself for someone else. And a common scenario that I see a lot is when people go off to universities at the end of Year 13, there's usually something like one person wants to go to a university in the north and has always wanted to go to a campus university, and the other person in the relationship is going to a London uni and has always wanted to live in a city, and they just have really conflicting ideals and they don't really know what to do. And that kind of results in a rift in the relationship. I mean, I don't have the answers to that scenario and I don't have the right answer, but this is something you need to think about because relationships that begin in sixth form don't necessarily last. Many do, many become long distance, but not all of them do. So keep that in mind. In the same vein as that, It's so important to have a good relationship with your teacher while you're doing your A-levels. I can't stress just how important and useful it is to be on good terms with the person who's giving you predicted grades and marking your tests and exams and anything else that will give you assistance before you do your real exams. Having a nice relationship with my teachers helps me feel more comfortable asking for help and also participating in the lessons, which made me understand the content better, which made me need to revise less, which resulted in me remembering the information better, and that helped me get better grades in the end just because I was pacing myself. Ultimately, being on good terms with them, participating, being active, and showing them that you appreciate them is something that you shouldn't underestimate. It also makes it much more likely for them to predict you the grades that you need because they see you as a good student. Next point, make memories. This is probably the most important takeaway of the video, but sixth form is so short, college is so short, so you can't waste it revising. Honestly, if you want to revise for 10 hours a day from the start of year 12 to the end of year 13, I guess you can, but why? As much as studying is important and it's so necessary that you get the grades you want by working hard, your purpose isn't to study. And before your academics, you're a person and you need to prioritize yourself. Yeah, you could get nearly 100% in all of your exams, but after a certain point, are you really growing and developing, or are you just pedestalizing these studies? When you leave sixth form, the only thing you will have are memories. And if all you did is revise, all you'll remember is pain and struggle and work. Make the most of the opportunities that you have while you still have access to them. Speaking of opportunities, leadership opportunities are a great thing to get involved with if you're in college or sixth form. Now that the UCAS personal statement has changed, it's even more relevant that you want to be getting access to these leadership opportunities in order to boost yourself on your personal statement. However, it's not just UCAS that appreciates this. Pretty much everything professional would value someone who has a leadership role at their school. Even if you're applying to a job at a coffee shop, like I mentioned earlier, they would love to see that you have some experience working with people and developing your skills that they want to see in a work environment or professional setting. This is also a great way to connect with people. Year 13s usually run clubs and societies, so if you become active in their club or their society or whatever they're hosting, you can connect with them and keep in touch with them after school ends. You're also more likely to be able to take over this club or society after they leave or hand it down to you while they prepare for their exams. And that makes you so much more credible on paper. Now, I can't talk about developing yourself professionally and setting yourself up for the working world without mentioning LinkedIn. I put this near the end since people who are more likely to use LinkedIn have watched this far into the video, but you should be using this time to expand your network if you're looking to establish yourself. This is extremely important if you want to apply for degree apprenticeships where it's so valuable to have connections. You can easily find mentoring and support as well. Just be aware that on LinkedIn, people tend to post about their successes a lot and they don't necessarily mention the struggles or the failures that they go through in order to achieve that success. They're doing so now that there's been a sort of culture shift, but I would just be aware that if you aren't getting the results you want or you're not seeing the success that you dream of at the beginning, maybe LinkedIn isn't the best place for you to go. Now I'm on my main point of the video, which I have saved towards the end because I mentioned it at the very start in the last video. Have a mental health protection plan if you're in sixth form or college, please. You need to be enjoying this experience as much as you can, and you don't want to be miserable and waiting however many months for the year to end. Mental health is something that a lot of people struggle with because it tends to decline when all of the responsibilities and the pressure gets to you after a few months in the year. And too many people deal with this and experience this, but not enough people mention the fact that you need to come prepared beforehand instead of fixing the problem. Prevent the problem. Reconnect with nature. Go for a walk. Meditate. You need to be so in touch with yourself that when A-levels start to shake you, they won't knock you off the ground because you'll be so comfortable within yourself and you'll know yourself and your limits so well that you'll be able to withstand any of the pressure that gets to you and be resilient. At the end of the day, you are the person who comes first, not your studies. Now, as my final side point, I would say that it's just been really helpful for me to divide my year by time blocks. So I tend to divide my year into 3 periods. So September to December, January to March, and April to July. September to December is generally the most active part of year. Either you're adjusting in year 12, you're getting a job, you're looking at opportunities, and you're including your extracurriculars in a list that you're going to write in your personal statement at the end of the year. Or if you're in year 13, you'll be doing your UCAS preparation exams, admissions tests if you haven't done them already in the summer. You'll be writing your personal statement, etc. Basically, this part of year is very busy, but it's all about preparation for the next steps. And then in January to March and April to July, there are many other things that you do during the year that year 12s and 13s will know about, that I've spoken about as well. Anyway, that's my best sixth form advice that I could give generally to anyone who's in sixth form or college. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did like the video, please consider giving the actual video a like, because it really helps me grow my channel. And I see a lot of people kind of watch to the end of the video, but they don't actually like, and it prevents me helping more people. I will be posting a lot of year 13 study content this week. So if that interests you, and if you're interested in general study content about sixth form, I will soon expand to degree apprenticeships as well and speak more about GCSE. So if you're interested in any of that, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.